Council for Education Research, New Delhi, and National Institute of Technology. He has a passion for research and he has been a resource person. More than 130 workshop and FDP programs held at many universities and B schools in India. His expertise lies in the areas of multi-variety data analysis techniques, mediation analysis, moderation analysis, structural equation modeling, lattice profile analysis, and item response theory. He is also familiar with data analysis software such as M+, AMOS, Python, R, and SPSS, and many more. His papers are published in SSCI, ABS, and ABTC listed journals. Recently, he has started to offer online workshops in the area of ICT tools in education, open educational resource, and HR analytics. He has developed online lecture videos for 3 of the courses offered through Swayam platform. So friends, today we have a very learned technocrats with us. So on behalf of HRDC Gujarat University and IIT, I am heartily welcome you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
And I also again welcome all the participants of this course. So, sir, I invite you for your session.
Fine.
And I'm sure that we have a wonderful time with you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thanks for the warm introduction. So I just want to know something about the participants. So whether, I mean, all of them are from management stream or commerce or education stream, are highly heterogeneous or homogeneous. I just want to know something about the participants. Maybe any one of the participant can also respond it in the chat window, or you can also come to the live chat. So that I mean, by considering your interest as well as your existing knowledge level, I can also proceed further. So all of them are from education domain.
No, they are heterogeneous groups, sir.
Yes, sir.
Oh, highly heterogeneous. Okay,
Yes,
thank
sir.
you, thank you, thank you. Fine. So the purpose of this particular session is, I think your program title is research methodology, right? So it's a refresher course on research methodology, correct?
Teacher
It is
educator, sir.
teacher
No, sir.
educators.
It is a refresher
Okay,
course
okay,
on
okay.
teacher educator.
Okay, okay, fine, fine. Okay, general course on refresher course on teacher education. Fine, thank you, thank you. Thanks for your response. So the purpose of this particular session is, I mean, for till 4 o'clock, I'm going to discuss something on why papers are getting rejected from the top 10 journals. So in the recent past, I did this session for 2 to 3 universities in southern part of India. And before that, I used to do combine this particular topic whenever I mean, run a program on structural equation modeling and then mediation moderation analysis. There on the very first day, I used to talk something about this particular content. After that, only I'll start with the data analysis part. So the core objective or aim of conducting this particular session is, from the speaker perspective, I'm setting this objective. At the end of the session, probably you can also say whether the objective is fulfilled or not. So one of the major objective is aiming better journals for your publication. Because again, after the implementation of this new education policy, I'm just giving bits and pieces of information about this new education policy. What is going to happen is, almost all of the colleges need to get autonomous status. When they want to get autonomous status, they have to go for accreditation. If they want to go for accreditation, most of the scores are devoted with respect to research outputs produced by the university faculty members or college faculty members. And on what basis they are going to evaluate your research output? simple Scopus, or maybe Web of Science journals like Social Science Citation Index or Science Citation Index, or expanded Science Citation Index, and so on. And again, second, I just want to create some awareness about all those things. And then the second objective of this particular session is emphasizing something about theoretical contribution of your research work. So the reason why in most of the cases our papers are getting rejected from the top tier journal, whether it is one impact factor journal or two impact factor journal, or FT50 journal, Financial Times ranked it of 50 journals, or it can be anything. So one of the major reason for getting rejections from the top tier journal is lack of theoretical contribution. So I just want to emphasize something about why our papers are getting rejected from the top tier journals. That is what now I'm going to do. After explaining one or two slides after this slide, I'll also touch upon some of the concepts related to understanding theory, and then you will be able to understand how to make contribution. I mean, how to make theoretical contribution. So these are the two objectives, major objectives I'm trying to fulfill here. So I'm not going to discuss each and every point that was cited in the reasons for rejections, but anyway, I'll be giving some overview or idea about whatever may be the explanation I'm going to give in the rest of the slides, I mean the forthcoming slides. So this is what my detail, and if you want to know more about myself, you can visit my site. That's the reason I have not kept my mobile number as well as my email ID here. So I'll share my link in the chat window. So by visiting this page, you can get more details about myself. My area of expertise in terms of delivering the talk is related to teaching multivariate data analysis techniques, structural equation modeling, and then mediation moderation analysis. This is what my core expertise. Anything related to research, I can do that fine. Now, just try to look at this slide. Before I get into the slide, I just want to hear something from the participants. So you just tell me, probably part of your PhD program, or maybe even after the completion of your PhD, or you might be guiding your scholars. Definitely, at least you might have received any one of the rejection from the journals. It can be a mediocre journal or maybe top level journal. Can you share your experience why your paper got rejected from any of the journals, whether it is top tier or low tier journal? It can be anything. Can you post your answers in the chat window? Why one of your paper or few of your papers got rejected from the or got rejections from the journals? Can you share your experiences in the chat window?
Good morning. Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Partha sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I have already one or two experience where I have already rejected one or two paper
Okay.
in terms of publication because they different publications that are community, they have different rules regarding reference styles or bibliography, and they are also, sir, I mean from chemistry background, so
Okay.
there is a chart and structure is there. So
Okay.
they always they sometimes their point of view like that, you use these tools, use these apps. So regarding this, sometimes I have done everything, but they
Okay.
rejected because some few or some nominal clarification. So that's
Okay.
why it is rejected. Mainly it is styles of writing, way of writing in that journal, for that particular journal or publication.
Fine, fine. Good, sir. Good, sir. Thanks for your comment. And some more people also posted their comments in the chat window. Manuscript was not clearly written, and then mentioning not enough number of references. One of journals from Taiwan rejected my paper, giving reasons that the paper was not written in a scientific language. Okay. Reference styles. So reference style is also another issue. Yeah. Any other reasons? Any other reasons? So I got only 5 reasons out of 51 participants. So I just want to hear.
Sir, another one point, sir, I have include. This is review of literature.
Yeah, yeah.
Some papers they suggest review of literature should be relevant and it is up to date.
Fine, fine.
But when I am writing this paper, it is made 2 years back, 1 year back, but they need up to date data. So it is a problem.
Fine,
Also.
fine. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So, any other reasons? Yeah, reference style and current review of literature. Okay, Subhash Meena. Yeah, any other points? Any other points? Lack of updation in new API style. Okay, okay. So to tackle this citation style format, I'll share some more insights by using one of the software. I use a software called EndNote. So there is a software called EndNote. So I'm using this EndNote software. Even there are some free versions also available like Mendeley, Zotero, and so on. You can also try to use. You can also use all those softwares in terms of tackling this particular issue. I mean, with respect to citation errors, lack of updation in new API style, plagiarism may cause. Okay, plagiarism is also another issue. Explicitly, they don't quote anything in your rejection letter stating this particular issue. I mean, plagiarism issue, but yes, they do reject the paper. In most some of the cases, they do reject the paper just because of this plagiarism issue. Yes, that is also happening. I agree with you, Dr. Mondal sir. And then Divesh Patel, abstract was too general, written for modification. Okay. Yeah. Any other comments? We had another session on Zotero. It's good. Please try to make use of Zotero session. Yeah. Any other comments? Any other comments? Okay, fine. So I'm not getting any other reasons. So the examples and then the kind of reasons I'm going to show here is highly cornered towards social science research in general management, commerce, and then other social science discipline. For core science people, one or two points may be directly related for why papers are getting rejected. But in most of the cases, whatever may be the points which I have mentioned in this slide, that is highly or very much applicable for social science people. So if you see the reasons for getting rejections from most of the empirical studies that were, that was reported using empirical data. So these are the 5 major reasons that were cited in this paper. So this summer's 2001 paper was published in Journal of Academy of Marketing Science. That is one of the really top class journal in the field of marketing under management discipline. And they say that these are the 5 reasons why papers are getting rejected. And if you see the first 3 reasons, this is all something related to understanding theoretical contribution of your research. And then the fourth point is something related to your methodology part, data analysis methods, and then result section. And then the fifth point is related to writing. Most of the people have quoted a reason that is nothing but writing is weak or plagiarism issue and so on. So even that is also another reason why our papers are getting rejected. So my conclusion based on this particular slide. Anyway, I'm going to discuss about each and every point in an elaborative manner. So please wait for some more time. And after the completion of your data collection, after the completion of your manuscript writing process, somehow you will be able to mitigate this particular issues. That is the reasons which was quoted in point number 4 as well as point number 5. But you will not be able to mitigate the issues that was quoted in 1 and 2, 3. Suppose if the entire data collection was over and then even you are done with your manuscript preparation part. If that is the case, I don't think so. You will be able to mitigate any one of the issues that was cited in point number 1 to 3. But even after the rejection, even after the completion of your manuscript writing process, you can do something with respect to point number 4 and 5. So please try to understand each and every point. So one of the major reason, the first point is lack of theoretical implications or lack of theoretical contribution. So in simple sense, according to me, in simple sense, research is nothing but according to me, research is nothing but already you have some knowledge. You have some knowledge about the particular field or particular discipline or maybe particular stream of research or domain of research. Now, you as a researcher, what you are trying to do is, let us assume that this knowledge is already existing in the literature. This knowledge is already existing in the literature. Now, you as a researcher, what you are trying to do is, you are doing some research related to extending this particular existing knowledge level of this particular domain by doing a new research. So whatever may be the information you are going to bring, part of your research, that is nothing but this is what your research contribution. This is what your theoretical contribution. So for finding new knowledge with respect to going beyond the existing knowledge level is nothing but research in simple sense. So again, I can also classify the research into two parts. One is practitioner oriented research or practical research, and then academic oriented research. In most of the cases, the trade-off between practical and then academic research is, I can also say that it should be like 60-40 or 50% and so on. But in some of the consulting firm related research, so they focus on only answering the questions that is related to practicing certain policies in the organization. But whereas in academic research, for example, in whether it is a PhD program or MPhil program, or you as a faculty, whatever may be the kind of projects or maybe research work which you are trying to do, there we are trying to ensure this particular component called developing or contributing new knowledge to the old body of literature or old body of knowledge that is already residing in the public repository or maybe in the existing literature. So creating this new knowledge is nothing but your research process basically. So with the help of existing knowledge, you are trying to expand your understanding with respect to this particular domain by doing this particular research work. So this is the new knowledge you are trying to create here. So whether it is science related project, research work, or engineering related research work, or management related research work, or psychology related research work, or maybe commerce and other discipline related research work, whatever may be the papers, you take any paper from any of the top tier journal, definitely they might have contributed something new to the existing body of knowledge with respect to their research output. You go to Nature or Science journal, it can be anything, or you go to any of the social science stream journals, definitely in the introduction section itself, at the end of the introduction para, definitely they might have said something about their contribution. So what exactly they are trying to understand, and then what exactly they are trying to contribute with respect to the existing knowledge that is available in the existing body of literature. So this is nothing but research in simple sense, and directly I can connect that particular new knowledge with respect to the theoretical implication or theoretical contribution. So now I'll explain this first point. So in the first point, they say that the research questions, yeah, the research questions being investigated are not very interesting. So which means that your research question is not so interesting. Because of that reason, they are not interested to publish your research work. There are mainly descriptive and lack theoretical implication. Suppose if you replicate any of the research works, if you replicate any of the research works, I don't think so you'll be able to make some novel contribution to the existing body of literature. So now I'll show you one of the evidence related to this particular point. How you can develop some interesting research questions or maybe interesting research approach or research part of your discipline or maybe part of your domain. So now I'll show you one of the image. I hope you know something about the sustainable development goals. This is one of the way how you can also select your research domain. So most of the research may not be falling under this sustainable development goals, but yes, you can also do something under this SDGs, sustainable development goals. There are about 17 goals are available. If you are able to connect your research question with any one of the sustainable development goals, means definitely you can create some interesting research question with respect to your research process. For example, I can quote one of the recent evidence. I hope you know something about Professor Abhijit Banerjee. Yeah, Professor Abhijit Banerjee. If you see some of the papers that was published by Professor Abhijit Banerjee, most of the field experiments were conducted in India. So the reason why he has conducted a lot of field experiments, you know something about Pratham Foundation, right? So along with Pratham Foundation, he has ran series of experiments, in India with respect to understanding how education can eradicate poverty. How education can eradicate poverty from the economics standpoint or from the economics perspective. So he has conducted series of experiments, series of field experiments in India. So I'm just using India as a keyword here. You just see improving police performance in Rajasthan, India, experimental evidence and incentives manager atomy. This is something different. Now I'll try to show you one of the experiment related to education. See, pitfalls of participatory programs, evidence from a randomized evaluation in education in India. You just go through this paper, and then remedying education evidence from two randomized experiments in India, remedying education data, remedying education evidence from two again another paper. So I could able to locate two or three papers simply by doing this quick search in terms of locating something from the title. But if you carefully read some of the papers published by Professor Abhijit Banerjee, some of the works are related to how education is how we can use education as one of the tool for eradicating the poverty. So basically, that particular research is highly cornered towards fulfilling the Sustainable Development Goals 1. You might be from chemistry domain. You can also do something related to clean water and sanitation, and you can also connect your research with SDG 6. Similarly, you may be coming from economics. You can also connect something from the perspective of this no poverty, or even good health and well-being, quality education, decent work and economic growth. Even you can take any one of the SDG that is somewhat related to your research work. And then sustainable cities and communities, and then reduce the inequalities, and then industry innovation and infrastructure, gender equality. Most of the management scholars can also do some research related to understanding this gender equality issue, where by looking at the sub themes that was proposed in SDG 5. So what I'm trying to convey here is, if you are able to connect your research with any one of the sustainable development goals, means definitely you can create some interesting research question. That is the point I'm trying to convey here. I'm not saying that this is the only way how you can create interesting research questions. No, there are other ways also available. This is one of the way. This is one of the way how you can create interesting research questions with respect to conducting your research. That is the point I'm trying to convey here. Now I'll show you one of the sample research evidence where they have connected this SDG 5, that is Sustainable Development Goal 5. So there is a professor from University of Arkansas. So he's the one, Vishwanath Venkatesh from University of Arkansas. So he's an Indian professor working with the University of Arkansas. So he's having close to 1,10,000 citations as far as the Google Scholar Citation Index is concerned. And now I'll show you one of the paper where he has published in two of the top tier journals, and the data and then the research was everything was conducted in Indian context basically. So I'll show you one of the paper evidence here. So you can also visit this professor website, and then you can also go through this paper. I'll show you. Sorry, it's taking some time to open the. Yeah, if you see the some of the published papers of Professor Vishwanath Venkatesh, look at this paper. ICT for Development in Rural India, a longitudinal study of women health outcomes, MIS quarterly 2020. MIS quarterly is one of the really top journal which is having close to 8 point or 9 point as the impact factor according to Web of Science Index. Citation index is concerned. Now I'll show you one more paper that is, yeah, it got recognized as one of the best paper published in AMJ in 2017. Just look at the title of the paper: Networks, Technology and Entrepreneurship, a field quasi experiment among women in rural India. I'm trying to open this paper now. It's freely available basically. I'm just opening this paper. I'll also share the paper link through the chat window. You can also look at this paper. Yeah, if you see this particular paper, here, the title of the paper is Networks, Technology and Entrepreneurship, a field quasi experiment among women in rural India. And just go through the abstract of this paper. So here they have cited something about the results from a 7-year field quasi experiment in 20 rural villages in India, provided substantial support for the model, ties to family and community positively, and ties to men in power negatively related to ICT use and so on. So basically, this study was conducted in northern India. I think in Punjab district only they have conducted the study. Even now they are conducting. Almost for the last 7 years, they have done some work by selecting 20 villages in Punjab region. And even now they are continuing this work. And this paper is based on 7 years of data basically. And they have divided 10 villages as a control group and then another 10 villages into experimental group. And in the experimental villages, they just installed some internet-based kiosk machines, and with the help of that, they used to train the farmers as well as they used to train the entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs, and then they used to train in various aspects. So basically, the overall direction of this research is how using ICT tools, that is information and communication technology, is helping the people to improve their productivity, improve their health outcome, especially the maternal outcomes, and then how this is also improving the educational outcome of the village people, and then how this is helping them to improve or increase their agricultural productivity, and then how this is helping them to increase their profitability if they are running some small enterprises in that village setup and so on. So this is the kind of experiments they are running actually. And if you see the introduction section of this paper, so here they just cited something about this UN Millennium Goals. So before 2000, in 2008, they have developed eight Millennium Development Goals. But in 2015, they have revised and then they have proposed 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Just now I have shown you what are those 17 sustainable goals. And if you read this particular para, so here they say that the SDG incorporate information communication technologies with the view that various ICTs, including future advances, that is example, the Internet of Things, robotics, artificial intelligence, 3D printing, will provide tools for additional unprecedented advances in healthcare, education, energy services, agriculture, and environmental monitoring and protection. Although several SDGs include gender-sensitive targets, one of them, that is Sustainable Development Goal 5, is devoted specifically to women's issue, in particular related to improving the lot of women through improved life quality, eradication of income restrictions, and elimination of gender pay gaps, and so on. So the challenges faced by women are more severe in less developed countries, especially in rural areas, where centuries-old socio-cultural impediments limit access to education and information that can aid in their development and so on. So basically here what they have done is, so this is a model which they have tested here. This is a theoretical model which they have tested here, but the data is collected from some of the rural villages from India. And this is what they're trying to understand, how social networks are related to entrepreneurial activity and profitability through ICT used by the women, entrepreneurs, those who are working in the rural environment. So basically, this is what they are trying to test. And here they are connecting this particular research theme with SDG 5, that SDG 5 is nothing but gender equality. So under the gender equality, one of the sub theme is something related to women empowerment. So if you go through this sub theme, you will be able to get more details about facts and figures about this particular SDG 5. And here also they have set some of the goals related to this SDG 5. So what I'm trying to convey here is at the end, so if you are able to connect your research with any of the sustainable development goals, means nobody can ask you a question, what is the motivation of your study? Whether your study is related to engineering, whether your study is related to education, whether your study, for example, education people directly, straight away, they can easily connect their education related research work with quality of education, SDG. I think the quality of education is SDG 4. See, quality education is SDG 4. So, see, and then you can also connect, suppose if you are from medical domain or medicine domain, or if you are trying to run some clinical trials and all, you can also connect your, research with good health and well-being, that is SDG 3. If you are from economics domain, even you can also suppose if you are doing some of the research work related to sustainable agriculture and then food security, ensuring food security and so on, you can also well connect your research work with SDG 2, that is nothing but zero hunger. So what I'm trying to convey here is these are the ways how you can connect your research with some of the sustainable development goals. With the help of this, you can also create some interesting research question in your research. That is the point I'm trying to convey here. For example, you might be doing a chemistry research. You try to connect, what is the real application or implication of your research finding? Suppose if that is going to solve some of the societal challenges that is proposed in sustainable development goals, means that is the social impact research which you are trying to conduct, part of your research project or maybe part of your academic research work is concerned. So again, you can also think about solving some of the social problems, whatever may be the news media, whatever may be the news which we are getting it from the media channels or maybe newspapers, everything is considered as a social problems only. If you are able to connect your research with any one of the social problems, yes, easily you can also justify your research work saying that this is what my motivation of the study, this is what the motivation for this particular study and so on. That is the point I'm trying to convey here. So of course you can also come up with something, sir, I'm doing a research in history, how do you connect a history related research with one of the sustainable development goals? I may not be having direct answer, but even under the history also you do have more sub themes, that maybe history may be connected with some other domain, or history may be connected with some other domain, maybe related to management and so on. So if that is the case, yes, definitely you can also connect with any of the sustainable development goals. At the end, what I'm trying to convey here is I'm not asking you to every time connect your research with sustainable development goals. If possible, wherever it is applicable, you try to do that. And I'm not saying that connecting our research with sustainable development goal is the only one way or one of the key way how you can conduct your research. No, I'm not saying that. There are other ways also available. So I'll quote one more example here. With that, I'll complete the first point. So recently I had an interaction with this particular professor, Arvind Rangasamy from Penn State University. So Arvind Rangasamy is also from from India. He is from management domain basically. He is working with Penn State University. And you can also go through some of his papers basically. The papers published in the recent past. Yeah, he is the one, Professor Arvind Rangasamy. And you can also go through some of his publications. Nowhere the publications are related to SDG 5, but I'll share one of the interesting contribution which they are trying to make here. So what they are trying to do here is, especially the kind of research right now Professor Arvind Rangasamy is doing. So he has made collaboration with science discipline people, especially the mathematics people, and then computer science people, and then biology also, I think, biology also. Now they are trying to integrate management discipline research with computer science, and then mathematics, and then biology, and so on. So basically, one of the example which he has quoted in the recent conversation is they are trying to develop some new ways or new approaches where we can integrate some of them tools or techniques that is available in management, especially for example, social networking analysis is coming from computer science discipline basically. And he is good at one of the model called Hazard model. So there is a concept called Hazard models. So this Hazard model is a statistical approach, and the survival analysis concept, this particular Hazard model is coming. Now he is trying to integrate this Hazard model with social networking analysis with the help of computer science people and then mathematics people. This is the kind of research he is trying to do right now. So what I'm trying to convey again here is, so how you can also integrate, or conduct some kind of multidisciplinary research work. Through that way you can also create some interesting research question. That is the point I'm trying to convey here. For example, this COVID issue, maybe from the medical perspective, you can think about creating a new vaccine and so on. So this is the kind of research thought process we are having with respect to this COVID issue. But it is having larger impact on other discipline also. We never thought that I'll be sitting at my bedroom and then doing this class exactly on 16/9/2020, maybe 4 months ago or 5 months ago. But now this is happening. Similarly, we never thought that without going to the college also, college will happen or college will run. And then we never thought that most of the IT employees will be sitting at home only for the next 2 years or next 1 year, whatever may be the kind of job which they are going to do. We never thought that most of the services, whatever may be the government services that is given by government of India or maybe concerned state government, that will go through some of the online platform. Even the school education is happening through mobile phone as well as television. So once upon a time, there are some strict private engineering colleges. They have created a strict rule which says that they should not bring the mobile to their classroom or maybe mobile to their engineering college premises. But now, without mobile, there is no education. So we never imagined about all those changes basically. So what I'm trying to convey here is, each and every discipline have their own specialized area of research, but you have vast amount of evidences in the past literature. But if you integrate some of your research work with other discipline related research work, definitely we can do a better job in terms of achieving some of the sustainable development goals that is proposed by UN Development Organization. At the same time, we can also create interesting research question. At the same time, we can also make larger contribution to the existing body of literature. So now the current, even if you look at some of the government funding agencies, even they are also explicitly stating that we are looking for multidisciplinary research work. For example, recently we got IOE status, that is Institute of Eminence status at my university. Now even a lot of pressure is coming from the top level people. They say that you try to do some interdisciplinary research or multidisciplinary research, how you can integrate your research with chemistry people, or maybe how you can integrate your research with cultural studies people, how you can integrate your research with medical medical school and so on. So this is the kind of research they are trying to emphasize in terms of conducting some multidisciplinary research, because in QS ranking for this kind of research outputs also there are some separate marks are available. It seems that I don't know the exact reason, but this is what most of the people are conveying at my university. So even from the most of the funding agencies also, they are emphasizing this particular fact. Even part of this new education policy also, they say that a student can pursue engineering course, simultaneously he can also get into humanities related course or maybe arts related courses. Even already we have implemented that particular concept in our university. We do have something called foundation course. For example, an MBA student can take a course from arts and theater department, MBA student can take a course from life sciences department. A life science student can take some of the management courses from management department. So this is the kind of interdisciplinary degrees we are going to offer in the near future. So now itself, we need to foresee the future. For example, recently we did several refresher courses on research methodology. So one of the participants asked, sir, in what way, whatever may be the learnings we have learned so far, is useful in history research. We said there are management professors who came from history domain, and even they are working with some of the IIMs. Their UG as well as PG is history, but they UG is history, but they did PG as well as PhD in management domain, and now they are bringing some of the history related research component, and then they are employing those research approaches into management domain. So similarly, you have scope in the near future how history discipline or how history related research can be applied in psychology domain, or how this can be applied in medical school domain. So like that, you need to foresee the future, and then you need to think about how you can integrate your discipline with other discipline. So this is the kind of research approaches you should think in terms of conducting your research in the near future. So these are the ways how you can create interesting research questions. That is the point I'm trying to convey here. So I'm done with this first point. I'm done with this first point. And then the second point is related to this paper. Although well executed, there are no issues with the point number 4 and 5. So the research, or maybe the paper, although well executed, please understand this statement, does not appear to make a sufficiently large contribution to the literature. Does not appear to make a sufficiently large contribution to the literature. Example, the study largely replicates past research with minor modifications. I just want to spend more time here. So in most of the cases, what is happening is, in India especially, I don't know about the kind of research that is happening in science domain, but I'll bring some examples from the management as well as commerce domain. I hope there are people from commerce as well as management discipline in this forum. So the kind of research what we are doing is, for example, in 2015, there was a study published in the literature which talks about the relationship between X and Y. Consider this X as an independent variable, and then consider this Y as a dependent variable. And then in 2018, there was another research that was published in one of the well-known journal, and there they talked about the relationship between Y and Z. And then in 2019, another research was published. There they talked about the relationship between X and Z. Now, me as a researcher, what I'm trying to do is, I'm trying to connect this X with the Y, and then this Y with the Z, and then finally I'm saying that this is the model I'm going to test it in my research form. This is the model I'm proposing, and this is the model I'm going to test it in my research. This is what I'm conveying. And my supervisor is also asking for the literature evidence. I'm saying that this X to Y relationship is well established in this study, and this Y to Z is well established in this 2018 paper, and then this X to Z relationship is also established in this 2019 paper. So now I'm trying to propose this particular model, part of my thesis work, or maybe part of this research work. This is the way how we are trying to do the research. Now, my question is whether this particular approach is right or wrong. If it is right, what is your justification? If it is wrong, what is your justification? You please post your comments in the chat window. I just want to hear something from the participants. I hope you can understand what I'm trying to convey here. So there are few evidences are available in the past literature. Now I'm trying to do some minor modification here, and then I'm trying to propose a new model here by integrating whatever may be the bits and pieces of information which I have collected from the past literature. And then even my supervisor or maybe my committee members also convinced with my model, because I have support or maybe existing references in the past literature. So now my question is whether this particular approach is correct or wrong. That is the point I'm trying to ask here. I just want to hear something from the participants. Able to understand my question? Kindly mute your mic, Professor, and then post your comments in the chat window. Once again, I'm showing the picture to you. Yes, correct. Binapani Saga sir is saying that yes, correct. Yeah, any other answers? All three studies have two variables only, while in new model there are three and their interrelationship is also studied. So I think it is relevant. Okay. Thanks, Dr. Divesh Patel. Yeah, any other comments? The same principle or same logic is applicable even for science discipline people. That is the point I'm trying to convey. Even I can also open a paper from Nature Journal. This can cover some of your questions related to people those are really coming from the hardcore science discipline. You take any paper, read the introduction section, definitely there you will be able to get something about what exactly they are trying to contribute to the existing body of literature. I'm just selecting the current issue, 2020 September issue. Yeah, so this is one of the news and views only. Yeah, this is review articles. I think this is a research article. So let me experimental deterministic correction of qubit loss, evidence for supercritical behavior of high pressure liquid hydrogen. Let me open this paper. No, nowhere I'm connected with this particular research work. Randomly, I'm just picking or opening any one of the paper. And then value guided remapping of sensory cortex by lateral orbitofrontal cortex, structure of the C9 ORF something, like the distinct viral reservoirs in individuals with the spontaneous control of HIV/1, respiratory disease in. Fine. Let me see this paper. I have the access here, so I can open this Nature paper. So Nature is considered as one of the really top tier journal for science people, basically. So if you go through this particular introduction section, clearly they might have stated something about their research gap. And then you can also look for some contribution maybe at the end of the introduction section. Let me, it's getting opened actually. Yeah, so I got this paper. If you see this particular reference, this is something related to age-induced accumulation of methylmalonic acid promotes tumor progression and so on. So something related to hardcore science, basically. I think some medical research. I'm not sure about that. If you see the introduction section here itself, they might have said something about what exactly they are trying to understand here, or what exactly they are trying to innovate here. So you just go through this paper, you will be able to understand that. So whatever may be the paper you are trying to read from science, or maybe nature, or maybe it can be anything related to hardcore science discipline, definitely there will be an innovation. Definitely there will be an contribution. Unless you contribute something, unless you contribute some innovative thought process, or maybe unless the paper is having some innovation beyond the existing body of knowledge, I don't think so you'll be able to publish your paper. So for that reason only, I'm trying to showcase some of the references from even from science discipline. Let me see the chat window. Research can be conducted on how independent variables X and Y do have impact on dependent variables that independently as well as together predictive studies. Yes, you are right, Prashant sir. You are right. But my question is whether the way how I have developed my model is correct or wrong. That is the point I'm trying to see. Piyush Trivedi, X to Y, meditation on stress, Y to Z, stress on cancer, X to Z, meditation on cancer. I think it is not true. It is not an original work. Okay, so even you have given some examples also. Thanks, Piyush sir. I agree. I mean, strongly, I agree with Dr. Piyush Trivedi sir. So the point which I'm trying to convey here is this way of developing, this method of developing your model is absolutely wrong practice. What I'm trying to convey here is already somebody has found or established the relationship between this X and Y. For example, I think some 6 to 7 months back itself, somebody has established the structure of COVID-19 virus. Now, if you're going to say that, Hare, this is my research output and this is what the COVID virus structure, and recently I got this interesting output. If you say that, people will laugh at you. So, which means that there is no new knowledge you are trying to bring it from your research, because that particular information is already there in the existing body of literature. Able to understand my point? So, similarly, this Y to Z relationship is also well established in the literature. Even this X to Z relationship is also well established in the literature, which means that so there is no contribution in your research work. Definitely, definitely, you will not be able to publish your research work in any of the decent or maybe top tier journals. That is a point I'm trying to convey here. This principle or this principle or this logic is applicable to even for hardcore science people. Here, Shamim professor is saying that different context. You can say that context is different. So the COVID-19 structure is different in Italy and then India. Yes, you are bringing some more new information, but that is not so novel, right? So what? So what question only you will be getting it from the reviewers. So I can say that meditation is reducing the stress level of the people. This was established in US context. Let us assume that in India, nobody has done that research. And myself and Piyush is trying to do a research on connecting meditation with stress. Now, people will say that, so what? So here also that will happen because already somebody has produced the results, right? Now, if you come and say that I found a new virus called HIV, already that is sitting in the literature. There are a lot more evidences are available. Able to understand? Now you can say that I found a new medicine which can reduce your temperature level, body temperature level. Already paracetamol is available. Able to understand my point? So now if you say that I found a new vaccine that can cure COVID issue, yes, it's a novel contribution. I mean, you are trying to solve one of the major problem that is happening in the current scenario. Able to understand the difference? So if you find something new in your research, if you are trying to contribute something new beyond the existing body of literature, means that is nothing but contribution of your research work. Whatever may be the kind of science paper, I mean, whatever may be the papers that is published in Science Journal or Nature Journal, you go to Science Journal and then you look at the kind of papers published there. At least you pick 1 or 2 papers in your discipline. You do have papers related to medicine, engineering, and then even there are management related papers also, psychology related papers also available in science. I know that. So you pick any one of the paper from this kind of top tier journals, especially for science people. I'm referring this, and then you try to understand what kind of contributions they are proposing part of their research work. For example, there is a paper available, gravitational lenses in galaxy clusters. So definitely this research is coming from one of the university or maybe space organization where like similar to NASA and so on. Definitely, and they might have conducted some space related research work. Based on that, they're trying to propose something here. See the image. Based on that, they're trying to propose something here. So what I'm trying to convey here is finding new information or adding new knowledge to the existing body of knowledge, and then developing new system, developing new method of doing something, or solving some of the existing problems, or understanding something beyond the current understanding level. It can be anything depending upon your context, depending upon your discipline, or depending upon your domain. It can be anything. If that is the case, yes, you can say that I'm doing a great research, as well as my contribution is really better in terms of comparing the existing past evidences. This is the way how you can provide or make contribution to your research beyond the existing level of knowledge that is available in the existing body of literature. Sheetal, but in that model, only relationship between two variables studied and new model relationship between three variables under study, then why not accepted? No, because whether individually you are studying or combinedly you are going to study, relationships and then the constructs are same only. No, constructs are same only. No, which means you are trying to say that in 2015 paper, in isolated manner, they have found the relationship between meditation and stress. In 2018 paper, they found the relationship between stress and the cancer. In 2019 paper, they have found a relationship between meditation and the cancer. Now, simultaneously, I'm trying to understand each and every relationship. Yes, you can say that by keeping this Y as a mediator, you can say that I'm trying to provide some more contribution, but that particular level of contribution is not sufficient enough in terms of targeting top tier journals. That is the point I'm trying to convey here. Still, you can make argument saying that something is new in my research work. Sheetal ma'am, trying to ask something, or because your mic is unmuted.
Sir, just I want to say that
Yes, ma'am. Please, ma'am.
if we are doing this way, just we consider the publication aspects, then definitely we are stop ourselves somewhere to
Yeah.
do the something new type of research. So
Yeah.
I think when I'm writing the finding, definitely I try to be present by considering all the three variables.
Yeah.
So that is just my concern.
No, my concern is beyond your concern. My major concern is each and every hypothesis were already tested by someone. So if you mix, for example, in chemistry domain, can somebody bring some example from the chemistry domain which was already established in the literature, and again now you are going to establish that particular new old concept in a newer way, means whether your paper will be accepted in the top 8 journals? I don't think so. Able to understand my point?
Yes,
Getting
sir.
my point? Yeah,
Yes, sir.
still you can aim journal publication, but you may not be able to aim a top tier journal. That is the point I'm trying to convey, Sheetal ma'am, here. This is my own experience.
Okay, sir.
Just look at this slide. So I just took the screenshot of one of the rejection letter which I have received from one of the decent journal. This is not a really top tier, decent journal. Career Development International from Emerald Publication, which is having 2 point something as an impact factor. Just look at the the second para. I have now received the comments from 2 reviewers, and this can be found at the bottom of this letter. I also read the manuscript independent of these comments, as well as in light of these comments. Your manuscript is very similar to, please try to understand. Your manuscript is very similar to and test the same ideas as Elwood and Conrad 2011 paper, that is formative versus reflective measurement, an illustration using work family balance. This is the paper title of this particular citation, published in the Journal of Psychology. In fact, this manuscript appears to go beyond your manuscript. The only thing that is different is that you tested for mediational hypothesis as well, because an illustration of these two approaches using work family balance has already been demonstrated. The contribution of your manuscript is limited. Thus, I cannot publish your manuscript or invite a revision. I wish you the best in finding a suitable outlet for your research. I hope now you can understand the point, Sheetal ma'am. Though I'm saying that this is something different from the past literature, I do cited that. I mean, even I have, in fact, I have cited that paper saying that my paper is different from this paper in so and so aspects. So I have provided my list of contributions in the paper. Not much time is available. Otherwise, I would have shown that paper also. If you are from management, definitely you'll be able to understand something based on that reference. But the editor of the journal has, questioned the contribution. Basically, they have questioned the contribution of the paper. I'll cite one more example here. I know most of them are having some idea about Academy of Management Journal. So Academy of Management Journal is considered as one of the really top tier journal. Academy of Management Journal is considered as one of the really top tier journal that is published by Academy of Management Association, and which is having 7.191 as the impact factor according to 2018 citation index is concerned. Now we'll see the current impact factor. See, impact factor is 7.571. 5-year impact factor is 11.853. And this is the top rate rated as 8 out of 226 journals in the category of management, 10 out of 152 journals in the category of business. Web of Science Journal Citation Report 29 June 2020. What I'm trying to convey here is, and this is considered as one of the really top tier journal, like Nature or Science kind of journal for management scholars. In India, hardly you can count the name of the, you can count the people those are having the publication in AMJ. Hardly you find maybe 1 or 2 people from Indian universities where they are having the publication in Academy of Management Journal. But there are professors from India and working with abroad universities, but they have papers. So recently I had a session, I have invited one of the former editor of this journal. His name is Jason D. Shah. Right now he is with Nanyang Technological University from Singapore. Basically, he is working with Nanyang Technological University, and he is having close to 50 plus papers in AMJ itself. Just consider his credibility. Just think about his credibility. So he's having more than 50 papers in AMJ itself. And last year, September or October month, he came to our School of Management Studies, University of Hyderabad, and he did a half-a-day session on why papers are getting rejected from the top rate journal. I'm just showing the exact PPT which was used by Professor Jason D. Shah, part of this particular session. So here, I just want to highlight some of the discussions which we have made during the presentation. So I just want to show you this particular word cloud slide. So what he has done is to create this particular word cloud picture. So he just copy pasted. During his tenureship, he has written close to 800, 900 addition letters in terms of rejecting the papers during this 3-year period of time. So during 3-year period of time, he has rejected, abruptly, he has rejected close to 800 or 900 papers or close to 1,000 papers. He just copy pasted all those decision letters in one of the word cloud generation software, after doing the data cleaning. And finally, he came to know that one of the major reason why papers are getting rejected from the AMJ is lack of theoretical contribution, and then underdeveloped hypothesis, and then weak test of theory, construct definition problems, construct measure mismatch, novelty scope, and so on. So this is the reason why papers are getting rejected from AMJ. This is a strong statement which was made by Professor Jason D. Shah during his presentation. And I would like to show you one more word cloud diagram here. So this word cloud diagram is related to revision and resubmit. So this RR is referring revision and resubmission. So usually when you are targeting AMJ kind of journals, you have to devote at least 3 to 4 years of time in terms of getting your acceptance. So it will go for multiple rounds of revision. Even in some cases, they may give you 6 months duration to conduct some more studies also. Even there are cases where they'll ask the authors to conduct one more round of study or two more round of study, and then they will try to add all those research outputs in the paper. So what I'm trying to convey here is, so based on this particular word cloud image, what you can understand is, so the reason why in most of the cases papers are going for multiple rounds of revision and resubmission is application of theory or inappropriate application of theory, novelty and scope, again theoretical contribution, motivation, underdeveloped hypothesis, and so on. These are the reasons why the papers are going for multiple rounds of revision and resubmission. So the point which I'm trying to convey here is, based on this two slide presentation made by Professor Jason D. Shah, is basically, in India, people tend to say that the reason for getting rejection from any of the top tier journalists, writing is, weak, or citation format is weak, and then latest technique or tool is not applied, and then software is very old software. No, that is not the reason. Please try to understand. The reason, or one of the major reason why papers are getting rejected from, especially from the top tier journalists, lack of contribution, not having the interest in research question, or you are not adding any new knowledge to the existing body of literature. These are the major three reasons I can quote here. You can overcome some of the methodology related issues, writing related issues after some point of time, but you will not be able to overcome this particular issue. Now, today, if you come and say that I found a new virus called COVID-19 virus, and people will laugh at you. And if you write a full length manuscript, and then if you submit the same thing to any of the journal, definitely, they will just reject your paper, because that information is already there. But if you find a new reason, new knowledge, why the virus is mutated so fast, within 15 days, the entire structure of the virus is getting changed. Why? If you are able to answer this question, then you are bringing some new knowledge to the existing body of literature. And then people have already demonstrated that how some of the existing vaccines or maybe medicines that is available in the market, whether that is working or not. There are a lot of evidences are available. Now, if you are bringing a combination of Ayurvedic and then allopathy and then homeopathy medicine, a mixed method medicine or mixed kind of medicine, and then if you are saying that this is giving better result, means probably people may look at your face, and then they will ask for more explanation in what way this is helping the people to cure this disease and so on. So basically, what I'm trying to convey here is, whatever may be the kind of research you are doing in your discipline, the ultimate output or maybe outcome of your research must be new. If it is not new, I don't think so you will be able to get better publication. And often we fail to understand this reason, and then even we have a wrong myth in our mind which says that if you add a foreign author in your paper, definitely there is a high chance that your paper can be accepted. Even if I add Professor Jason D. Shah name along with my paper, with respect to that career development international journal rejection, I don't think so my paper would have been accepted in any of the journal, top tier journal. Even Jason himself, he has received a lot of rejection from AMJ itself before he got the editor position. So during his PhD, and then even after the PhD also, even he used to submit a lot of papers to AMJ, and even he got a lot of rejections from AMJ. So what I'm trying to convey here is, it's not that if you add some of the foreign author name, you can aim top tier journals and so on. No, that is not the case. And most of the cases, we fail to understand this particular point number 2. Because of that reason only, why our papers are getting rejected from top tier journals. I can also quote one more live interaction I had with this particular professor. I'll also quote the professor name here. In 2013, I met this professor. In 2013, I met this professor at ISB, Indian School of Business at Hyderabad. So you know that ISB is considered as one of the premier business school in India and ranked as 21 or 20 something. So at that point of time, she was with ISB actually. She was with ISB. Right now, she is working with the University of South Australia. So I did the data collection part of my thesis work, and then finally I just shown my model. I mean thesis model as well as the justification for each and every hypothesis, and then what is the theory which is supporting my model and so on. Then simply she just asked only one question: do you have empirical, that is literature support or empirical support for some of the hypotheses which you have postulated in your model? I said yes, for most of the relationships I do have literature support, but for one of the linkage I'm not having any support. I'm not having any support. That is the point I made. Then she said, even if you have one of the support or at least one evidence in the literature, which means that nothing you are contributing to the existing body of literature. For your thesis submission purpose, yes, this work may be acceptable, but for research paper publication purpose, I don't think so. You will be able to publish your paper in any of the decent journal. That is a bold statement or comment given by Professor Ruchi Sinha. Then after that, I reworked my model, and then after some point of time, I could able to get some impact factor publication. So what I'm trying to convey here is this knowledge is completely lacking or missing in most of the doctoral level research courseworks. So that is the reason why our publication quality is not improved so drastically. Only in some of the premier institutes they are getting this kind of inputs. Based on those inputs, they could be able to aim top tier journal. I'm not saying that the people those who are working with the low tier institutes or maybe self-finance colleges, they are not that productive or they are not having that much of knowledge. No, absolute no. They are also equivalent to some of the IIT professors. They are also equivalent to some of the central university professors. They do have knowledge. Unfortunate reason is they are not getting the job position, but they do have knowledge. But because of some reason, lack of resource availability and other reasons, they could not able to aim for top tier publication. That is the issue. So, but this is the major reason why in most of the cases the papers are getting rejected from the top tier journal. So again, if you look at this point number two, the study largely replicates past research with minor modifications. So, for example, somebody might have found the structure of COVID-19 virus using some XYZ technology or XYZ machine. Now I found the same structure using some other technology or maybe some other microscopic machine. That is the case. You can say that this machine or maybe this technology is something recently developed one or latest one. So with the help of this, we can make accurate, we can mimic the accurate version of the COVID-19 virus issue, virus structure and so on. If you say that, again, you will get the rejection. Whether the method or the tool which you are using is recent one or old one, the kind of information which you are going to contribute to the existing body of literature, whether that is new or old one, that is the point you should understand. So using the old microscope, microscope machine and then latest, recently developed microscope machine, that is similar to our statistical analysis or maybe softwares. If you use R programming or Python programming, there is a high chance that my paper may be accepted. No, that is not the case. For certain reasons, for performing certain analysis, yes, R and Python may solve the issue, but even a simple Excel program can do the same job. Suppose if you want to do regression analysis, using Excel itself, you can perform regression. Using SPSS also, you can perform regression. Using R also, you can do the same thing. Using Python also, you can do the same thing. No, I'm using Python, so something is interesting or something is new here, and no paper is available in the literature using Python, especially for running this regression model. So this is the contribution I'm making. Nobody will accept your contribution. Whether the hypothesis or maybe the results which you are going to contribute, whether that is new or old one, that is a question you should ask yourself whenever you are trying to do some research. Now I'll move on to the next point. The third point is the conceptual framework is not well developed. This point is highly applicable for social science people. Example lacks precise conceptual definitions of the constructs. under compelling theoretical rationale for the hypothesis and so on. So lack of justification is given in terms of proposing or grounding your hypothesis. Even that is also another major reason why in most of the cases our papers are getting rejected. And then the fourth point is the methodology is seriously flawed. Example, the sample is inappropriate for the research question. The validity of one or more key measures is suspect, under the experiment lacks experimental realism and so on. So these are some of the reasons which is related to understanding the methodology part. And then the fifth point is the writing is so confused that an invitation to revise and resubmit is considered unlikely to result in an acceptable manuscript and so on. To improvise your writing skill, I just want to show you some of the references here. So there are a lot of web-based references that are available. With the help of that, you can also improvise your writing skill. But only one mantra you can follow is reading the paper. That is the best solution for improving your writing standard. So there is a course available in Coursera. Writing in the Sciences. This is the course offered by one of the Stanford University professor. You can also attend this course to understand the English component. How to construct your statements in active voices, because these days in most of the journals they expect you to write it in active voices. Where you can use passive voices and so on. So please go through this course. I'll also share the link of this course. This is one of the fantastic course which I can suggest. Strongly recommend you to take it up in terms of understanding the writing process. And then another reference is, I'll go to my site. From there, I'll try to locate the reference. Yeah, another reference is from University of Manchester. There are some writing resources are available. So by referring this particular link, there is a book called Academic Phrase Bank. I'll also share the link of this site. So if you go to this Academic Phrase Bank from manchester.ac.uk, this is from Manchester University. And here you have this Academic Phrase Bank book basically. So here, suppose if you are writing the introduction section, so what should be there in the introduction section? And then what kind of terminologies or connecting words you can use? In most of the cases, whenever we write our paper, getting the connecting words or getting connecting terminology is a major issue. We may not be able to get the right or appropriate terminologies. For example, if you are going to highlight something about the knowledge gap in the field of study, these are all the certain statements you can also use it in your paper. See, it is still not known whether dash much less is known about X. The nature of X remains unclear. Currently, there are no data on X. What is less clear is the nature of. Very little is currently known about X. Research to date has not yet determined. What is not yet clear is the impact of X on something. There is still uncertainty, however, whether the response of X to Y is not fully understood. Causal factors leading to X remain speculative. The neurobiological basis of X is poorly understood. Little is known about X and it's not clear what factors is affecting. To date, only a limited number of X's have been identified. The mechanisms that underpin X are not fully understood. Much uncertainty still exists about the relationship between and so on. However, very little is known about X in few studies have investigated. However, the nature of X remains unclear. So these are the ways how you can persist your knowledge gap in the introduction section. Suppose if you are trying to say something about the limitations of the current study. So these are the statements you can also use. In terms of explaining key terms used in the current study. Suppose if you are going to define the terms, for example, the term X will be used in this thesis to refer to. Historically, the term X has been used to describe. It is necessary here to clarify exactly what is meant by. The phrase X will be used in this study to describe the and so on. So similarly, for writing them, referring to sources, suppose if you are referring some of the past literature evidences, what are the components you can follow? And then describing the method section. and then reporting the results, discussing the findings, and then writing the conclusions. So what are the I mean, connecting terminologies or maybe connecting words you can use. For everything, you can refer this particular academic phrase bank that is coming from University of Manchester site. This is one of the fantastic resources where you can get, I mean, how you can write your manuscript. And then similarly, you read multiple papers published in the same targeted journal, and then you see the recent issue. I mean, whatever may be the kind of papers published in the recent issue, where you are going to submit your paper, and then you just mimic their I mean style, I mean the writing style as well as their reporting format and so on. Based on that, you can overcome some of the methodology as well as writing related issues during the review process. And before you submit your manuscript to the journal, you try to send your paper for proof editing, I mean English editing. So there are some professionals are available in India, even for the entire Elsevier, Springer, and then other publishing houses. Most of the back-end jobs were done through by Indian people. I know that there are organizations in India, Chennai, especially in Chennai, and they are doing the back-end services for Elsevier, Springer, and then Emerald and so on. I know that. Informally, I came to know about this information. I'm sharing this. And even for example, if you submit your paper to any of the Elsevier, proof editing system or copy editing services, definitely they will charge at least $200 or $300. But if you give the same document to one of the Indian person, hardly they may charge $50 or $10 or $20. So what I'm trying to convey here is there are some English editing professionals are available. Don't feel bad about your writing because we are not English native speaker. To match with some of the international journal quality, definitely we need to clean our manuscript in terms of English. I mean the kind of vocabularies or maybe the kind of statements which you have which we have used in our manuscript. So that's the reason I'm saying you try to send your manuscript to any of the English editing author services firms, or maybe if you have an English professor in your college or maybe English department, if he or she is really good in terms of correcting the statements, and if he or she is having better publication, definitely you can give it to them and then they will do the editing process. You can also pay them something because they are investing some time, right? So definitely you can also pay something. Otherwise, you look for some foreign collaborators who is an English native speaker and who can take care of the English part. So that's the reason in the recent past I have created a lot of collaboration with US university professors, and I'm not giving my papers to English corrections. I'm not paying anything because my co-authors are taking care of all those things. This person is from one of the US university, and she is really good in writing, and she has done everything related to proof editing the manuscript, the entire manuscript. Similarly, for this paper, yes, I have given this manuscript for English editing. Even for the rest of the papers also I have given it for English editing. But now we are also working on another paper, and one of the co-author is native speaker of English, and she is taking care of everything. Okay. She is the one. We are writing some paper right now basically, and she is from she's working with one of the African university, but basically she's from US, and this is the paper now we are working on, and it's a 3-author paper basically. It's a 3-author paper. So what I'm trying to convey here is you can also make some collaboration with other people, so that she is the one. So she did the entire editing, English editing in terms of proofreading this manuscript. Now we have submitted this paper to Current Psychology Journal. I don't know whether it went for review and so on, because recently we have submitted it to check the results. So this is the way how you can overcome some of the rejection issues. I thought of sharing some more information, but this much only I could able to cover within this 1.5 hour time. So if you have any questions, you can post it in the chat window, or you can come to the live chat. I'm happy to answer your questions. With that, I can stop the session. Yeah, any questions? Any questions? So do you have one more session after 4 o'clock, or this is the last session for today? No response. Oh, last session. Okay. Okay, if there are no questions, I think we can wind up the session. So any questions? And there are some videos also available on my site. If you go to resources site, there are different videos are available related to education. Also, I have created some other videos related to open educational resources and then finding open textbooks and so on. So you please visit this resources page, so you may get some of the useful references, I mean useful videos from my YouTube channel. So if you are interested, you can also watch the video. Any other questions? Yeah, say something about fake journals. So to identify fake journals, one of the directory which I can refer here is, you go to Cabell's directory, Cabell's International, you go to Cabell's directory, and then you can also refer this predatory reports. So here they used to say that this all the journals that is coming under predatory category or predatory list. So to avoid some of the predatory journals, one of the simple thumb rule which I can give you is, if the journal is indexed by Web of Science, if the journal is indexed by Web of Science, means you can rely on that particular journal. You can rely on that particular journal. That is the point I'm trying to make here. And then the second criteria which you can keep is, see the history of the journal. Since when the papers are getting published in the journal, and then you check the ISSN number. You go to ISSN website. And then you check whether the ISSN number is correct or wrong. International Standard Serial Number. You go to ISSN website. For example, if you want to check whether this journal is a good journal or bad journal, I have some two papers in this journal. Now I'm going to get one more publication, and recently I have submitted another paper to this journal. And my aim is targeting SSC journal, Social Science Scientific Index journals. So this is from Springer. And if you see the indexing mechanism, see the impact factor of this journal is 2019 impact factor is 2.051, 5-year impact factor is 1.795. And then you go to aim and scope. Yeah, journal homepage. Show all. So here you will be able to see the indexing. See where and all this journal is indexed. See, this is the ISSN number. You copy paste this ISSN number in the ISSN website to locate whether this particular ISSN number is correct or not. Find as National Center, subscribe to this, requesting an ISSN. Here some option is available basically. National Center verification. If there is a search option available here, you can simply copy paste the ISSN number there, and then you can check whether the ISSN number is correct or not. That is one of the criteria you can follow. And then where and all this journal is indexed. For example, this journal is indexed in Scopus, and then this journal is also indexed in Journal Citation Reports. That is nothing but Social Science Citation Index basically. See, Social Science Citation Index, and then UGC CARE list also, this was listed. And then listed in ABS. ABS is also another category in European business schools, European universities, they follow ABS ranking category. So this is a way how you can check the journal. indexing mechanism. And then if you want to see the issue when it was first published, so you go trace the back-end volumes. See, the first volume is published in the year of 1981. So if it is available in the database since 1981 means definitely you can trust the quality of the journal. Also see the impact factor, this is very high. But there are journals which is falsely making some claim wrong, making some wrong claims, stating that especially those journals are published in India, they say that our journal impact factor is 5 point something, 6 point something. And if you ask them, what is your, how you are computing the journal impact factor, they may not be giving any idea, they may not be giving any calculation formulas and so on. Simply they say that 2.75 is our impact factor, global impact factor. There are journals where they say that global impact factor something. I don't know how they are finding those kind of metrics and all. So it's a gambling, it's a complete gambling only. And they say that this journal is listed in Scopus category. Today the journal may be listed in Scopus, but after some point of time, you may not be able to see the same journal in the Scopus category. Because by paying some money or maybe through some informal network, they could able to list their journal in the Scopus category, or genuinely even Scopus might have recognized your journal as a good quality journal. Because of that reason, they might have included in the Scopus category. But after some point of time, most of the people are making complaints about the credibility of the journal means definitely they will exclude the journal from Scopus category. That is the reason why even in faculty recruitment process also most of the faculty applications are rejected just because of this reason. When they publish their paper in journal, that point of time probably that journal might be listed in Scopus, but now that may not be available in the Scopus category. Sir, which impact factor is most reliable? This Thomson Reuters impact factor is most reliable, sir. You just go to Clarivate Analytics. Clarivate Analytics. Previously, this was given by Thomson Reuters impact factor. Now, their Clarivate Analytics is taking care of the science citation index and then social science citation index. You go through the master journal list that is coming from Web of Science category. So you can rely on this particular impact factor, sir. I can trust, I can strongly recommend only this particular impact factor. Don't rely on, don't trust any of the other impact factors that is created using some dubious mechanism or using any of the other mechanisms. You can also go through this JCR report. So here, whatever maybe the journals are coming, definitely today this journal will be available in SSCI index or maybe SCA index. Even tomorrow, after 10 years, after 15 years also, definitely that particular journal will be available in SCA or SCCA category. I'm not sure about ESCA category, but whatever may be the journals that is coming under SCA and then SCCA category, definitely that will be there. Definitely that will be there forever in the SCCA as well as SCA category. So you just type JCR report PDF in Google, you'll be able to get the journal list that is coming under that is coming from Clarivate Analytics site on journal citation report. So this is what Web of Science journal citation report. So here whatever may be the journals available, everything is coming under SCA and then SCCA category. See, this SCIE is nothing but science index expanded. This SCCA is nothing but social science science index. Sorry, citation index. Social science citation index. For example, I'm just trying to locate that current psychology journal that will be there in this list. See, current psychology, this is listed under social science citation index published in United States. So this is a way how you can look at some of the quality journals. There are about 20,000 journals are available in this list. I know that there are about 10 to 12,000 journals are coming under SSCA category alone. Probably in science citation index, definitely even you can get more than that. So you have I mean, if you are from commerce, management, social science discipline, you have close to 10,000 journals in social science discipline alone. I think that is sufficient. I think that is sufficient. Definitely, this link will be working, sir. You use your personal internet. Definitely, this two sites link will work. If it is not working, I can't do anything from my side because this site is Vishwanath Venkatesh site is managed by Professor Vishwanath Venkatesh. Definitely, it will work, sir. Please check it once again. Which one will be better to publish, whether in online journal or offline journal? Whether it is online or offline, it doesn't matter. Whether the journal is listed in Scopus or SCA or SSA category, don't blindly go by UGC CARE list. In future, I'm expecting that even 5 years back, I predicted that there are some stringent mechanisms that is going to be in place in most of the central universities or maybe state universities. Now we have UGC list. Even they have removed almost most of the fake journals from the UGC CARE list. Now, I think in B or A category, they say that they are considering only Arts and Science Humanities Index, SSA, SCA, Scopus Index category journals. And then in A or B category, they do consider some of the local journals. But in future, this is my own point based on, I mean, I'm not having any justification. This is my own point. I'm expecting that maybe after some point of time, simply UGC will issue a letter which will say that there is no list of journals are available under the UGC category. Simply, you need to ensure that whether your journals are listed under SCA, SSA, Arts and Science Humanities Index, and then Scopus. If that is the case, you just think about your future. This is the point I'm trying to convey here. So, thanks to IIT and then Gujarat University HRDC for giving this opportunity, and thanks to all the participants for your wonderful interaction. Really, I also enjoyed with this session. So thank you so much. So I'm stopping. If there are any questions, I think we can wind up the session.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you.